to share with you some updates, also to do some very brief school reports, but primarily the goal of today is also to share with you our parent learning walks, and we are going to do one today, so super excited about that. I know last time we met as a team, I went through Schoology and showed you how to connect into a conference, into a classroom, and so we want to dive deeper into that today because it is going to be beneficial and crucial as we continue to do school and distance learning. And what are some of the key elements in terms of the classrooms, in terms of the instructions, and also in terms of you as a parent that you can do at home also. And if you're not seeing some of the things, what you can do to reach out to the school site. I just want to double check to make sure, Sandy, you are okay. Ms. Renteria, am I speaking too fast? Is that okay? All right, so in terms of updates, we are currently still online learning, so our sites are not open to students yet.
Las no están abiertas a los estudiantes todavía. Estamos abiertos para servicios si está llamando, si necesita una consejera, trabajadora social, administrador. Todas estas piezas todavía están en lugar y estamos en el sitio escolar contestando teléfonos. Queremos recordarle que estamos continuando
And remote learning for the third quarter, which starts on the 4th of January. And again, if you can continue to check your emails and our social media websites, if you have not joined or followed us, either Savanna or us, we encourage you to do that so that you can stay up to date.
And then Hilda, can I add another note, parents? If you need to get something from campus or whatever, can you please call in advance so that we can see how we can help you out before coming to campus? We want to save you the trip and make sure if there's something we can help you with, we can do it over the phone. And so just please make sure calling in advance before coming onto or near campus.
Yes, Mr. Brewer, thank you so much. So just so that you know, both of our school sites and every school site in our district, we have a check-in point. So we do have campus safety or some personnel at the doors, but we usually let them know that you're coming so that we're prepared if you're turning something in or if you are dropping something off, that they are aware and we have that prepared for you. So absolutely, thank you for sharing that. If you can call ahead, that is the best way so that we're ready for you. All right, so this past Tuesday on the 15th, our board approved a revision to our online learning schedule. Many of you have shared in the past in our meetings wanting to have more daily connection with teachers and to get them into a routine, and also how long some of the days are in terms of screen time. So based on that information, as well as collective data from the district on achievement rates, like grades of students, and also the attendance and engagement of students on synchronous days versus asynchronous days, there's been a revision to our schedule because we are going to continue it, and we're noticing that there may be some gaps right now, or that we can help students better. So this is the high school schedule. So you can see on Mondays is exactly the same as it currently is. Students start at 8:30. Is it blurry? Is it blurry on your side? Okay, so they start at 8:30 and then they go to all of their classes on Monday. So Monday is the all day, same as right now, live classes with the teachers. On Tuesday, for high school, students will be going to their first period class starting at 9 in the morning. And it's going to be first period. And then they're going to go to second period, third period, and they are done. So on Tuesday, they have 3 classes. First period, second, and third. Wednesday, they start again at 9 in the morning. Every single day, they start at 9 in the morning from Tuesday through Friday. And they go to fourth period, fifth period, sixth period, and then they're done. And then Thursday, it goes back to first period. So you can see how their 6 period class schedule has been broken up, 3 classes each day. And so now students are going from 9 to 12 every day, Tuesday through Friday, and they will have just asynchronous time to independently work on anything else that they're working on for their classes. So before I move to the junior high, do we have high school parents that need or have a question regards to the high school schedule?
And just to let parents know, this was emailed, I believe, yesterday. It's going to be included in another weekly email the Sunday before we return from break. So you'll get a couple of different emails that I'll be sending it your way. So definitely, this is not the only time you're going to see it. You're going to have access to it in your email.
And teachers also have been sharing this with students. So definitely will be in a couple of different areas. Okay, I am moving to the junior high. So for Brookhurst students, Mondays is still the same. And remember, junior high students have 7 classes. So they are shorter because it's not 6, right? So they start at 8:20 on Monday and they finish at 2:45, exactly the same as our current Monday, which is great. And then Tuesday through Friday, they start at 9 in the morning, just like the high school students do. And on Monday, they go to period 1, 2, and 3, and they're done. And then on Wednesday, they go to periods 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 3 classes on Tuesday, 4 on Wednesday, 3 classes on Thursday, 4 on Friday. So it really mimics the high school schedule as well, but because junior high students have a 7th period, they will do it after 6, right? So Wednesdays and Fridays. If your student happens to have 0 period or 8th period, also the times are there. And that would be the same for high school students. And for junior high, and just as Mr. Rubio reiterated, we are going to most likely be sending you
Ms. Vasquez, you're
I
muted.
lost them. I know. Thank you so much. Thank you, Natalie. All right. What was the last thing I heard? I said, was it about the classes? 0 period?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Rubio. So just wanted to remind you, as Mr. Rubio mentioned, for the junior high students, we are going to be sending a message the day of, email and a call, just letting them know, hey, today you have class at 9 in the morning on Tuesday, just as a reminder, because it may just, after the break, sometimes we forget, right? But we will remind them on Monday, and we will send out an email on Tuesday, and maybe a phone call, just as a reminder. I'm going to pause here to see if there are any questions from our community members or parents in regards to the schedule. All right, awesome then. If at any time you have a question, you feel free to use the chat box, and our team from Brookhurst Savanna will answer those questions for you. So we have some Brookanna updates.
All right, so a couple of pieces of information to share with families. Today is the last day of the first semester. So after today, your students will be on a 2-week break from school. We will be returning virtually online. Your students will log in on January 4th, that's Monday. Some of your students may have schedule changes at the semester, so they will get an email somewhere around January 2nd or 3rd with if they get a schedule change. They don't all get schedule changes, but they will. If they do, they will get an updated schedule as a reminder. What that really means is when they log into Schoology, they will see their classes. They will be there. So that's really what it means. It's just going to be a different class if it gets shifted around, and as well as the time of day. So definitely have your student double check the morning of or Sunday, January 3rd. Double check in the morning to make sure January 4th that their schedule is what they're expecting it. You can also check Aries and your parent portal on Sunday, January 3rd, just to double check your student's schedule for second semester. We are having the virtual Parent Leadership Academy starting January 28th. It'll be going for 4 Thursdays from 10 to noon. And if you have any questions about that, you can reach out to Ms. Trujillo, you can reach out to Ms. Soto, and our faces can help set you up and register for that. Any comments, Ms. Trujillo?
Yeah, if I could just, for just a second. So this will be our Virtual Parent Leadership Academy in Spanish, but it will be offered in English as well throughout different school sites throughout the district. So we will be sharing that information with you as well. It's just that the Brookanna VPLA will be offered, we'll be hosting a Spanish cohort. And then also to let you know that we're having a food distribution again, as you know, Brookanna, the partners that we are, on Wednesday, December 23rd from 8 to 10:30 a.m. in our Savanna High School parking lot. So if you could please, you know, come join us, or if you know of any families that would benefit from this assistance, please help us pass the word along. Again, it's Wednesday, December 23rd from 8 to 10:30 a.m. in our parking lot, in the Savanna parking lot. And it's open to everyone in the community. You don't have to necessarily be a Brookhurst or Savanna student or a Savanna family or a Brookhurst family. It's open to all of our community. And then also just, you know, our district, along with Latino Health Access, is continuing to partner together with the COVID testing. So just wanted to let you know that during the break, there will be COVID testing available at Magnolia High School and at Western. Magnolia on the 21st, Western on the 23rd. And to schedule appointments, I forgot to enter the website, but it's oc.fulgentgenetics.com. And I know that information has been emailed out to you, and we will be emailing that again, but just wanted to let you know that if you know of anyone that needs to do COVID testing, or if you or your family needs to, that there are those 2 dates available for free COVID testing.
Yeah,
Maria, can we put the link in the chat box?
Yes.
I'll add the link in the chat, and I also want to remind everybody for the COVID testing, this is ongoing. We are having every Monday at Magnolia, and every Friday, except for this Friday because of the holidays, it will be at Anaheim. So Mondays at Magnolia, Fridays at Anaheim. It's a pretty smooth process. Just make sure you are scheduling appointments, because we are experiencing a little bit more volume of people requesting testing, but it is available Mondays and Fridays for all of our community.
Okay, great, thank you, ladies. We're gonna go ahead and go to the next slide, Ms. Vasquez. And then just a final announcement for Savanna families especially. We know that many times seniors, parents take out yearbook ads for their seniors. Other grade levels, you're welcome to do it, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, but generally seniors have been the ones that gotten the most attention on those full page ads. If you want to submit an ad for your senior, there's a website there. The deadline is coming up. I do believe it's sometime in January, so just the sooner you can get the page submitted, the better. So jostensadservice.com, and then you'll be able to select your school to be able to submit that for your senior.
Mr. Rubio, can I comment on that too? Unfortunately, this year our prom has been canceled again. And so this might be a good opportunity for those parents who have seniors just to create a memorable statement, especially in the yearbook. So just want to share that with you guys.
Thank you, Ms. Cortez. We can go on to the next slide, Ms. Vasquez.
That's it.
That's
All right,
it.
so before we move on to our virtual learning walks, I just want to go back to see if there are any questions in regards to the updates or any information that you need that we can answer, because then we're going to do our virtual parent learning walks. I do want to share in terms of the grades for first semester. The window for teachers opens today, and it goes through the first Friday when we return. So you will see the first semester grades starting the second week of school in January. So after, what is that? 8, 9, 10, 11, about the 15th of January. There was a question in the chat box. Let me see. Mr. Rubio, are you able to see that? Let me see.
They just wanted to ask about Ms. Cortez mentioned that prom was canceled.
Yes, so I just want to add to that. Many of the prom venues or dance venues or those things that usually happen for activities are not taking reservations, are not open. Right now, we're still currently in the purple stage tier, so we're not really able to provide that, or there's really no venues because of the guidelines. So
Yes, thank you for that, Ms. Vasquez. I appreciate you saying that.
all right, anything else in the in terms of that? I'm super excited to do the learning walks, you guys. We've never done them virtually, so you're gonna have to hang in there with me, but super excited. All right, so at this time, I definitely invite you to stay with us. This will be, there will be some participation in here, but we are the second site that we are doing the virtual parent learning walks, and particularly, I am looking for your feedback as a parent of this presentation, because we want to make sure that it is beneficial for you, that it is practical, and that if it's too long or too short, or you want to see something more of something else, that we can do that for you as well. All right, Ms. Genevieve, could I have you mute really fast? Thank you. All right, so.
Miss Vasquez, sorry to interrupt. She used the Zoom feature to raise her hand. So
Oh,
she had a
perfect.
question.
Yes, Genevieve. I can't see the whole entire screen. Genevieve, do you have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to check if or ask how we're gonna take pictures for the yearbooks.
Yes, so it really depends on whether or not we are returning. I know there has been discussion about possibly having students submit pictures or submit something to your yearbook in my school site, because we may not necessarily be able to have them come on campus and take the school picture. So we also thought, could they submit their own or something that they would like to have as part as their little part in the yearbook, right? Maybe it's a quote or something, that artwork that they're doing, or something, a selfie, right? So we're exploring all those options at my school site. I am going to ask maybe Mr. Rubio or Ms. Cortez to see if there has been any conversation at Savanna in terms of that.
There has, I know, because I do the Sunday newsletter. I know that our teacher who was in charge of the yearbook has asked to send that information to parents. So there is a link tree that we've been sending through our Savanna weekly newsletter, and I'll include it again in our next newsletter. So I know that she's asked for just different photographs of different activities that the students are doing. So parents, if you could please help us out with that. I know that she's still asking for pictures, but that is the case for Savanna as well.
And Mr. Trujillo, is that their own personal one, like, you know, where it says Ms. Vasquez, and that school picture they're submitting as well, or is that being done another way?
That I don't know, Miss. I don't know, Miss Cortez or Mr. Rubio.
Ms. Cortez, do you want to take that one regarding yearbook pictures?
Sorry, what was the question? I apologize. It's cutting.
For the actual personal school picture where it has their name and last name, do you know if they are submitting that picture, or if they're still waiting on whether or not they can come in?
Senior pictures?
Yeah, the student individual pictures.
Yes.
Okay, so those are pretty much done. So now it's just a matter of them contacting Life Touch or Prestige Portraits, because as of right now, they're pretty much done.
So the senior pictures, they scheduled them in, right? The senior pictures. Well, what about the underclassmen?
So we were in the process of that. We were working out a schedule for them to come in and take their picture on campus, obviously following all protocols the district has given us. But unfortunately, that has stopped for now. So we're still trying to figure out, we're hoping to get those in during when we get back. If not, it'll have to be hybrid. Otherwise, if we're still in purple, more than likely we're going to have to use, one of the things that was discussed is maybe using last year's, or if they're incoming freshmen, using their 8th grade. But obviously that's worst case scenario, but we're still working out the logistics of all that.
All right. So Ms.
Depending
Cortez,
on what's up. Yes.
okay, could you just write a note so that we can have a follow-up in January of this topic so that
For
we
sure,
can share that
definitely.
with parents?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, thank you, Genevieve. Is there another question regarding either the schedule or information we shared or anything that we didn't touch on that you want to know? Okay. Yeah, I can't really see the chat box. So if someone raises their hand or something like that, if you guys can help me out, that'd be great. All right, so we are going to invite you to stay and participate in our virtual parent learning walks. Like I said, these are new and we haven't really done them this way before. So you are the first junior high school team to do them. So we're very excited to see how this is for you. There is a question really fast. Okay.
We'll answer it in the chat box. There's just a question about return,
okay.
but I'll answer that in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so Ms. Ike will give you the response. All right, in terms of our virtual learning walks. All right, so our goal today is that you as a parent have an increased awareness of what a virtual classroom looks like. We know that when we go into the regular classrooms, or that when we went to school, we kind of knew what that looked like, but not necessarily what is this world of online learning, right? Identify ways that you can support students and in terms of the high expectations, and also to empower you as a parent if you see something that you would like to address or something that you want a follow-up on in terms of instruction in the virtual classroom. So our questions for today, I'm sorry, Sandy Renteria, I realize I'm going fast. Our essential questions for today is, how are teachers creating an effective virtual environment to support all students? So how are they connecting with students? How are they engaging? And what can you do as a parent or guardian to support your student at home or through the activities that you do? In terms of virtual learning, there's 3 national standards that identify how instruction of high quality is done in a virtual setting. And there's 3 primary pillars. So they are the course of routine and how something is predictable within that virtual environment, the presence of the teacher and how that is created, and lastly, building community and connection within that classroom setting. So these 3 national learning standards, our teachers were trained over the summer as we realized, and this is district-wide, as we realized the need to do distance learning. And so we really wanted to use a framework, and we wanted to look at the effective strategies and standards, right, to make sure that our teachers were equipped to that and that they were providing virtual settings of high quality. So this is for you. So think about your routines. So what does that daily routine look like for you? And what do you need in order to have a successful day at work or at home? What do you do at home or in the workplace that revolves around a routine? You can use the chat box, or you can unmute yourself to share. What are some routines that you do as a parent at home or in the workplace? And maybe Mr. Rubio, if you can help me read some out, or our team in our other, I know we're doing simultaneous rooms.
Right, we're waiting for some responses to come in.
Okay. So at this time, yes, so at this time, parents, if you can think of routines, yes.
Yeah. What I do is I actually have my son get up, get dressed, and then go to his area to go to school. Not just leave him and do it in his room or whatever. So he has a routine every morning to get up and do schoolwork, and it works. He has straight A's.
All right. Thank you so much. And then you can think of, I love that you share what you're doing with your student. You can think about things that you do with your son or daughter, or also things that you do for yourself. So here, for example, for me, I set an alarm every day so I can get up. So it could be really easy stuff as well. So what do you do that is a daily routine for you to help you get through a day successfully?
Can I add what Team Rubio does at home?
Yes, please.
That's good. So I have a junior high student in 8th grade. I have a 5th grader and 2 TK students. And before they start, we throw on YouTube on our TV, and they do a couple of like dance moves, and they put on some music and they dance around to kind of get very active right before they get all their Chromebooks and get going. So they dance around and get a lot of wiggles out before joining in. And we have some other responses. We have some parents saying they coordinate schedules. They check in at the start of the day to see how their student is feeling. A parent makes their bed. That's self-care, right? You make your own bed. That's good. Coffee, essential oils, and alarms. Those are great. There's a parent that says that they get the student moving to start their day and to get a great breakfast and to be on time for their classes, and parent supervises them.
All right, great answers. Thank you so much for sharing. So one of the big pillars in virtual learning is course routines and predictability. So just like you set your alarm, or you set the YouTube video, or you check in, or you have a calendar, our goal is to make sure that students, when they come into the classroom, the virtual classroom, they know what to expect from week to week. So we're asking teachers to set up routines for students, and we're also asking them to set up routines and predictability. So as a district, we understand that there needs to be some uniformity, right? Like, you know, we want to make sure that it's pretty consistent. So we've done some best practices. And so I'm going to show you some, and then that way you can go into your son or daughter's classroom and you can kind of look at it from the pillar of course routines and predictability. Make sure, I think I went a little too fast there. I'm sorry. Okay. So this is an example of a Schoology snapshot, like a little screen. So the key things on this, as a parent, as you're looking through, and as a student, your courses should be organized so that you can easily find the information. You want to know, where are the assignments? What are the directions? And when are things due? So you can see in this example, a snapshot, you can see folders, you can see labeling of what week it is. You can talk about, it says what the topic was, and also it says when it is available. So this is an example of how Schoology, that virtual classroom, when they log in, students can see some routines and some structures. I'm gonna leave that there so you can look at it. I'm also gonna give you some other examples. So once you click into some of those folders, teachers may see, students may see what teachers are doing for that week. So many of them are putting a schedule, right? And it's called a week at a glance. So we are asking district-wide for our teachers to provide students their weekly schedule or week at a glance. What are they doing? How are they doing it? And these are typically posted the Sunday before so that students know what is coming up. And so on this example, you can see 3 different ways in which students have been given a schedule, right? And under that, you can see the activities. All right. Let me move on to the next one. Also important, right? We want to make sure that when students are clicking onto the folders or anything that may be linked, right, that there's an overview or description, that there's instructions, and also that there's a goal. So the teachers may be saying, you will be working on this, and this is when it's due. And we want to make sure that there is an objective, right? This week we are focusing on this. And so on this lesson, you can see there's an overview of the lesson. So right here, let me use my overview of the lesson. And then the learning objectives, how they're developing the 5 C's. And then approximate time that it's going to take them. All right, so the reason I'm going through all of that is because we're going to visit some right now, and I encourage you to visit your son or daughter's class, not the second, but when we are done, maybe over the next 2 weeks, and so you can look at, well, what do I see on the Schoology course, that virtual classroom, and notice how it is set up. Right? And is it easy to follow? Is it not easy to follow? Right? What are some questions you may have? I am going to, let me see if this will work. All right, so this is my account, right? And so when you come in, your students are going to have their courses right here, okay? And so when these are the classrooms, they don't have this many. Let me just reiterate, these are all mine. So this is why it looks like this, but they don't have this many. So let's click on a class. And I'm gonna have you, so I'm gonna just slowly put on there. Mr. Rubio, is that big enough? Or do I need to blow it up? I zoom it out.
It really depends, because if you're looking at this on the phone, it's going to look small, but it depends really the device that people are using. It looks fine for me, but again, depending on a parent's device, it's going to vary on size. So
okay,
I would just go ahead.
All right, parents. So I want you to look at this class right here. What do you notice in terms of the pillar of predictability? If you can type in the chat box, or if you could unmute yourself, what do you notice? Routines and predictability. If you could type in the chat box. I'm also going to show.
One parent has responded saying, Rosario says that weekly updates are summarized.
Okay, perfect. Let me see on the update one. So there's different parts. One is an update and the other one's materials. Materials is usually where all of the folders are at. I'm going to go into another one as well. Let me see, I have one up here. So here's another one. This is a Spanish class. What do you notice about some of these folders? Colors, particularly.
One parent says they see color coordination, that there are important reminders in red.
Okay, all right. Yes, all very true. that is the predictability of the course. I'm going to show you one more. Let me see. What do you want to see? I don't know. We'll go into an Excel class. So this one you can see it has second quarter, week 12 and dates, right? And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All right. Now I have to find my presentation. There it is. Okay. All right. So ultimately, right, with the predictability, we really want students to be challenged with the content, not challenged with navigating the online parts. Where do I find this? What do I do here, right? So I think as we started this semester, everything was new to everybody, but hopefully by now you can start seeing some of these routines and structures so that the content is what is challenging them, not navigating or finding things on the page. All right. So again, I would encourage you to visit your student's classroom, your son or daughter, and just sit with them and say, hey, can you show me your classes? And you can kind of see how those are being designed. All right. Why is this important? Well, routine, as you know, right? It helps manage a lot of their time and also reduces a lot of the stress, and also they know what to do and when to do it. So if they have a week at a glance, if they know where to find the makeup work, if they know that they have to do certain things, that routine and structure and predictability is much easier on them social emotionally, just like us, right? If I don't have my cup of coffee in the morning, I'm maybe a little more grouchy, or I'm not as fun. Or if I didn't put my alarm, I'm gonna get up, I don't know what time, and that's really stressful. So setting up those routines, as many of you mentioned, like I do a check-in, I help them do a calendar, super key in making sure that students could successfully navigate and do some of the work. All right, so thinking about what you just saw in those classes, what can you do at home to help support your son or daughter with virtual learning? And if you can type that in or unmute yourself to share, what could you do to help them in terms of routines for, and some of you already shared some, so you can share them again. What can you do to help them build some routine and predictability at home? All right, and Mr. Rubio, I know you're waiting. Yeah.
No, they're popping up now.
Yeah.
We have a parent saying creating an environment of gratitude, that there's appreciation. And one thing that we do, again, Team Rubio, my 8th grader goes to all the other Chromebooks in the house and does an update. So there are ways that you can update Chromebooks, which sometimes they push out updates and it just makes them run a little faster. Parents, I know sometimes we have Chromebook issues, so every Sunday night, our 8th grader goes and updates everybody else's Chromebooks. So that's a big help. We have some parents saying to get their student to go to bed early to make sure they get enough sleep. Some parents sitting down to check their grades. And let's see, going on to some other ones. We have a question from Leslie we'll answer in a moment. Getting used to the check-ins and just kind of working on those Tuesday, Thursday routines, checking the assignments, the understanding of teachers' expectations at the end of each week. When Ms. Cortez saying, checking the email on Sunday evening for announcements. So those are all really great suggestions and great routines.
Yes. Thank you so much, parents, for sharing. Absolutely. I think building in those check-ins and updates, and also the time to make sure that their body is at rest and is, they're able to get up within the time frame. Great suggestions. And look, going through, right, I heard missing assignments, great ways to build some routines and keeping that habit. I believe you have to do something for 21 days straight, right, as a routine, so that it becomes a habit that you do. So it does take a lot of time to build those in, and definitely we can help students, our son or daughters, do that. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the next pillar, which is teacher presence. But before we do that, right, before we move into that, I want to hear from you. How do you communicate with maybe your spouse or your child when you're not at home together? And what do you have around your house that makes it feel like the presence of family is there, or the presence of someone that you love, or their friends are there, but they're not physically there? What do you do at home to communicate that, to have family presence or communication when you're not there? What do you do?
That's a great question, Ms. Vasquez. Something to think about, right?
Yeah, it's hard, right? So I can tell you that for me, all of my family, my brother and my parents live here, but everybody else in terms of my family, they live in Mexico. And so one of the things that we do is we just have a picture of all of them, right, in our living room. And so every time I have lunch or dinner, right, with my family, we look at them. And so that reminds me of their presence. Even they're not there, right? Their picture reminds me of the great memories, or reminds them of who they are. So that's one way that I have family presence in my living room. How about you guys?
One parent noted that they have prayer cards that they hand to each other when they're going to be away for more than a day. I think it's beautiful. It's
Oh,
great.
that's
One
awesome.
Yeah, one parent says we have Post-it notes with positive messages around the house. That's right. I'm going to copy that one. Video calls, pictures, and handwritten notes. That's great. Ms. Pineda says they communicate routinely by phone, sending them a text message.
Okay. All right, awesome. So if they continue coming, we'll read them as we get them.
Yeah.
So similarly, right? Teachers are not with our students, with our son or daughter the entire time. They're with them for that period, right? So their goal is when they are not with them, right, is to create presence. And so you're probably wondering, well, how does that happen, right? How do they communicate with students where they're not together, and all they have is that Schoology component, which was, again, I showed you. Oh, I went forward, but I showed you, right, that in Schoology, when we have this, right, teachers are communicating because a student may access this at any given time. And so whether it's an update, which is kind of like a text message, right, from the teacher, that is one way in which they are communicating. So let me go back to our presentation. So in terms of our teacher work and the presence, I'm going to show you some examples. So you have a prompt that says, how was your weekend? Right? And students get to answer, great, good, so, waiting for next weekend. I just showed you a little bit of the update feature where teachers can communicate, send a message, kind of like a text message, right? So when the student goes into that course, into Schoology, they can click on updates and they can see. You may also see a lot of good morning. Here's the link. Nice to see you. So even though they're not there, the communication style is really mimicking some sort of conversation, or they may have updates or little notes for students or something for them to participate. All right. They may also have, newsletters or the week at glance that says, hello, students. So you want to look for those things. You want to make sure that when students are going into their courses, there's a teacher presence, that there is a way in which the teacher is connecting with them on days that they don't necessarily have class, or they're on their own working on something after their class is over. Here's another example, right? It sounds a lot like a conversation. So it's not like a textbook instructions, but the teachers may be using words like, we're going to start doing this, or we're going to do this, or you will begin to do that. So the communication should sound a lot like a conversation on Schoology and in terms of their assignments. All right, so before we transition to the next pillar, right, I want you to think about this. What have you personally done with your family to stay connected and in touch with your friends and family, right? So I want you to, same thing, use the chat box, thinking about how are we staying connected? And here are a couple of examples. Birthday celebrations or any kind of celebration, and doing it via video conferencing. Or may you participate in some sort of drive-by celebration, and there's a picture of people there in their cars coming by with birthday messages. What are some things that you've done to stay connected to your family and friends during this time that you've been restricted to stay at home or in your car to build community?
We have some responses. Someone says they do Zoom bingo after dinner. Someone says something called Duo, which I'm not familiar with. That'll be, if someone can share out what is Duo.
It's pretty much like a, what is it, video chatting?
Okay, like Marco Polo.
No, it's like it's an app.
Like Zoom? Like
Zoom
WhatsApp?
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Video
Okay.
call.
My family does Marco Polo. We record messages and then we send them off to a list of family members, and they record a message and send it back. So we don't have to do it immediately, or that's like asynchronous family time, right? So we don't have to go face to face. We can send it. They can watch it later.
Awesome.
We have someone doing a Zoom party where they're sharing holiday cookie recipes. That's awesome.
Ooh, I
That's
love
fun.
that.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Yes. So really, the last pillar that we're going to talk about today, right, is that sense of community and connection. We are human beings, right, and we thrive on building connection and community. So in the same way that you are needing to connect with your extended family or with your friends, teachers are also trying to do the same things with their students. Many of them have never met their students. So for example, at Brookhurst, our incoming 7th graders, we've never met them. And for our 9th graders at Savanna, they've never met them. And so it's really crucial that teachers focus on this pillar of community and connection and relationship building, right? Because we want them to embrace that face-to-face classroom routine, because that's what we currently have. And we want them to feel comfortable in that virtual classroom. So let me read this. No significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. So if you think of your own experiences, think back on some people who have really been influential in your learning or in your growth. And you may not necessarily remember what they did, but they definitely made you feel like you were valued and that you were welcome and you were part of a community. And so that's definitely one of the most essential pillars in terms of virtual learning as well. So we're going to go into like, well, how are we building community? And both in synchronous and the classes are happening live, and how are we building community asynchronously, right? How is that happen? How are teachers doing that? So one of the major things that we have done is at the beginning here at Brookhurst of the year, and with our teachers and community and our students, and at sites, is we ask students, what do you need from each other to do the best work and to collaborate and to interact? And so that is what we call the social contract. We are committed to making sure that as a group, when we come together, whether it's in person or in a virtual classroom, that we all agree and know what do people need, and how do I need to conduct myself to make sure people feel safe and feel valued and feel like they belong. So this is an example of a social contract for my classroom. And this, you can see how it has different names because it is done live. It is done together. And when you look at our 5 C's, right, it's really focusing on community and let me see, I'm moving this right here, on character and compassion. So we really are focusing on that 5th C. And so you may do something at work like this where there's some norms, right? And we do this with every classroom, every period. And so 2nd period may be different than 3rd period, and it's different than your other classes. And so really taking the time as a teacher to build that, that piece. And also, many of our schools, I know Savanna, us, our kids that go to Savanna have, we've been doing something called Capturing Kids' Heart. And really is about, it's about relationships, right? It's about being kind to each other, and it's about capturing the way that people feel. And also, if we have a conflict, it gives us tools on how to communicate that and restoring that in case we've hurt someone in some way or created a conflict. And it could be like miscommunication, something easy, or something deeper than that. All right. Let me go on to the next slide. So community building is really, really important. And one of the ways that this is done virtually is through online discussions. So discussions boards are a tool that Schoology has, and you can see probably a lot of this work through the asynchronous days, but they also do it during live teaching. And so I'm going to show you some examples of what those discussion boards look like, right? And so you can see how the discussion board has these 2 little bubble, what are they called? Bubble clouds and talking clouds. And students are being asked to do a character analysis here. So it is sometimes content related, and sometimes it's just something about themselves sharing. And so you can see a student answering, and then 4 other people have answered. And so it's kind of like a chat box, right, where they're interacting with each other to build community and also to further develop the content and their skills. All right, so I am going to have you watch this a little bit, and I want you to kind of write down, what do you see? What do you hear? How does the student make sure that students understand? How are they making connections and building community? And also, how does the teacher acknowledge what is happening in the classroom? Okay, so I got to do a couple of things in order for me to do all of this.
And why? What did this video make you think or wonder about? How is what you saw affecting our country or the world around us? How might what you saw affect you or your family? Can you think of something positive you can do in response to the news today? So I'm going to send you to your breakout rooms. And in your breakout rooms, I want you to use your voice to respond to those questions and to share out. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and ask you, do you understand the instructions? Do you know what to do in the breakout sessions? If you do, give me a thumbs up in the status bar. that you know what to do if I send you to the breakout rooms? I'm saying thumbs up from Miguel, thumbs up from Malia, Natalie, Brianna, Albert, Chloe, Edwin. Okay. So a lot of thumbs up. If you are thumbs down, that's okay, because when you get into the breakout room, there's so many people that are thumbs up. They're going to be happy to explain to you what you did. You watched the video, and now you're going to talk about it. Once again, the questions are in the shared notes, so you should have access to that when you enter the breakout rooms. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and create the breakout rooms. I'm creating breakout rooms. We have 26 people in here right now, so I'm going to make 7 rooms. I'm going to randomly assign and give us, actually, you know what, I'm going to create 6 rooms. 6 rooms, actually, no, let's make that 5 rooms. 5 rooms, and then 4 minutes discuss in the breakout groups. Ready? Breakout in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, breakout.
All right, parents. So the question is, what do you see and hear?
You guys should be
How
moving
does
to the breakout
teacher?
room.
Oh, sorry, we're not done. Ms.
Okay,
Vasquez? He's not done. Okay, we're gonna pause. Keep going.
Oh. It's okay. Let's do a couple questions. Let's do a couple of questions and then have other classrooms for them to see.
Okay. So parents' question being, how do they make the students understand? How are they making connections and building community with their students from that example? One parent typed in, the teacher checked for understanding by asking them to do a thumbs up or a thumbs down if they understood. That's right. Yeah. Students have access to those buttons, those status buttons. Teacher assigned them breakout rooms, called them by name. They had them interact in the breakout rooms.
All right, let me show you another classroom. We're gonna watch a Spanish one. Because we did an English one, we're gonna do a Spanish one. Buenos días, buenos días. Después de que escribas presente en el chat, buenos días a todos ustedes. Revisa Aries, por favor. Abre una nueva pestaña en tu internet. Abre una nueva pestaña en tu internet y revisa Aries. Ayer califiqué todo. Es muy importante que revises Aries para que veas si hay algún trabajo que te haga falta en el mes de diciembre, porque eso es lo único que todavía puedes seguir entregando. ¿Ok? De ayer, más de 100 estudiantes escogieron poder conocer a Rodolfo el Reno en vez de al hombre de nieve Frosty, así que por eso les puse la canción de Rodolfo el Reno. Buenos días a todos ustedes una vez más, Iriani, Fernanda, Alexa, buenos días Jocelyn, Madeline, Omar, Abudail, Angelina, buenos días Cecilia, Mark, Omar de la Riva, Kevin, Elena, buenos días Josh, Yarit. All right, let me pause that there. Mr. Rubio, while I prep the other one, could you do some questions?
Yeah, so parents, what are you noticing that the teacher's doing to engage the students and build community? Teacher gave prompts and reminders, greeted them by their name. The music is engaging. Absolutely. It's a response that a parent has given us. One parent asked Ms. Vasquez, is the teacher able to hear what the students say if they have questions or if they need clarification? Many times students can operate and ask questions in the chat, and that's how a lot of teachers engage them and address some of their needs, so they're not all talking at once. Yep. They have a good, clear communication, very animated. They name students and identify them by their name.
All right, we're going to watch another one. I think.
Doing well. It's good to see you guys. At least see your names, right? I don't have to see you that much these days. But let's just start off with, for those of us that are here a little early, let's start off with what was your favorite thing about this break? See, like Christian made a pie, ate a lot of good food. I ate a lot of good food, ate too much. What is something that you liked? And then also, since Christian and Milton were the first two here, so they get extra dollars. I'll reward those at the end. Oh, nice. I had a hamster when I was a kid too. But my hamster was a jerk and he would always bite me. So I had to wear like a glove when I handled him. Hopefully your hamster is nicer.
All right, I'm gonna pass it there.
We have some responses from the parents. They're noticing that the teacher is casual. It's a comfortable check-in. There's an incentive to log in early. The students will connect with the teacher because of that connection. They'll even connect early. Students will log in early just for a chance to engage with their teachers. So that's really great. And you notice that when a teacher responds to one kid, other kids are going to want to get in on it, and so they start responding. It's kind of like an avalanche, it's really cool. Like kids engage more when they know that the adult's going to respond to their answers.
All right. Great observations. And again, we're talking about different pillars, right, of virtual learning, and so key that relationship building, as you notice that, when kids have a connection with the teacher or the information is set up in such a way, it creates a comfortable environment for them to thrive. So when you're thinking about what can you do as a parent to support a student to be successful in the virtual classroom? And who do I contact at school if you have any questions or concerns of your child's class? The first thing we would encourage you is to make sure that you are connecting with the teacher, right? If there is a concern, if there is something that you are seeing that you need more information on, or if you're not seeing these three pillars, right, definitely reaching out to the teacher and/or depending on what that is, right? The site is really, really important. I'm going to open it up for discussion. What ideas do you have that have helped you in connecting with teachers or in helping your students be successful in the virtual classrooms? And I just want to remind you, we talked a lot about predictability, routines, and also community or relationship building. What are some of the things that you do that have been really successful that you've noticed as a parent during this time?
we're waiting still on some responses, and people are just
It's
typing
all,
them in.
it's all good.
Lots
Yeah.
of think time. That's okay.
Well, and we're having it translated too, so I know it takes a little bit of time. As people are thinking of this, I'm going to give you one of the strategies that we would suggest, and that would be asking questions. So as a parent, we would encourage you to ask questions of your son or daughter, particularly if you're not able to sit with them or be in the same room, because I know many of you, like for me, I am working, right? So I don't have my kids with me, so I don't get to see what that instruction looks like live. And so when you think of what does the instruction look like sitting down for them live, here are some questions you may want to ask as it relates to the pillars we talked about. What was the most interesting? What was something that you already knew about? What are you still wondering? How did you interact with, right, your friends today? Or how did you interact with your groups today? Or what did your peers have to say, right? Because when you're asking those questions, you are asking questions about, was their student voice? Did they feel comfortable sharing? Were they encouraged to collaborate? Were they broken up into groups? Was there a class discussion? Are there structures in place that make them feel like the sense of wonder, right? Was there something interesting or unique? So those are some of the things from just our discussion today that you can ask your son or daughter. Mr. Ruby, I don't know if there was any feedback, so I'm gonna stop for a second.
We got some good feedback from parents. Some parents saying, emailing teachers and contacting them for follow-up, being allowed to be held accountable by their student. One parent saying paying attention to their assignments and let them know that they're doing good, making decisions, and it's okay if they have some limits, but that they're trying. Really reinforcing, encouraging that. Emailing teachers with specific questions and share ways for the teacher to respond, giving the teacher multiple ways to respond to the parent, email or phone, reviewing with their student how their day went. Let's see a few more here. Checking in on missing assignments. Looking for subjects that inspire the students to be creative.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rubio. So yeah, some of you mentioned some of these questions in there already that you're doing that have helped you kind of gauge and understanding, well, what is happening in that class, right? I think it's really important that you inquire about what is happening in that class, particularly maybe it's something that you haven't thought about that. The other part is, what can you ask for those days that they're not in class, right? So then again, we're looking at the Schoology page and the discussion boards or the updates, right? And some of you mentioned it already, right? Helping them set up the structures and routines. Hey, I see that there's a lot of assignments on here. When do you plan to these assignments? Because they get the week schedule, right? So helping them navigate that. What additional help do you need? Are there, is there someone that you're going to go to? Is there a group or tutoring session? When does your teacher give help, right? I think these are some very important inquiry questions. And again, just like us from the side, we have some expectations on students, right? I think you as a parent and a student should have some expectations from the courses, right? And so we want to make sure that we are, again, focusing on these huge pillars there are national standards of making the virtual learning the most engaging and the most productive that they can be, and that students feel connected and that they again feel that sense of belonging, and also that even though we're not together, that they know each other and are building a community of learning. And so these are some of some questions that you may can use and maybe good starting points for a conversation about that classroom. All right. I want to get your feedback in terms of this, as I mentioned, is the first time we've done the virtual learning walks. I want to just have you type in a word to describe what you learned today, or your understanding of distance learning, or something that you are taking away to support your child. So if you could add a word or a phrase in the chat just to kind of get your feedback on what are some of the things that really resonated with you, that you learned, or that you have a better understanding of, or that you're taking away to support your student.
Someone said getting pointers from other parents and advice on their family time. That's great. It's great always getting support from others. That's why we love doing these coffee chats.
All right. I also want to get your feedback. And I have a form, and I realize I think it's only, I'm not sure if it's in English only. If one of our team members can click on that. I see, I move, and I see practical tips to support our kids in distance learning.
Ms.
Hopeful.
Vasquez, it is in it's in English.
It is in English. Okay, so I will send this out also in Spanish if we have, how do we do that? How do we do that, Miss Soto? Are we able to send it in Spanish?
Ms. Vasquez, one more thing, and it's allowed, allowing other emails to answer, right? Not just AUHSD?
Good question.
Okay.
I will have, I'm not the owner of the form. Okay, so because I don't know about the survey. Okay, so I'm gonna ask that you give us some feedback, particularly of the presentation, and also if you can complete the survey. I put the link on the chat box. I'm not the owner of the form, so I don't know a lot of the details, but I want to ask that you type in something that you really enjoyed and something that you would like to see more of or want more information. So I wasn't sure how many classrooms we can get through today. Usually when we do at the school side, we go to about 4 or 5 classrooms. I think today I showed you 4 little clips. So I want to hear from you. If I was to do this again, because I want to do this every month, not with the coffee with the principals, but at another time, what did you find was the most meaningful thing for you? What did you like the most? What do you want to know more of? Or what suggestions do you have? If you can type that in, that would be great. If you can do the form, you can do it in the form. But if you can't, I want to make sure that I get your feedback because it's meant for parents. And if it doesn't, if it's not as good as it can be, right, I want to make sure that we refine that.
And we're going to save the chat into a file. So whatever you type, parents will have that on file to be able to look back and refer to. So please, whatever feedback in the chat.
And it looks like parents don't have access. It's asking for permission.
Oh,
So it may be just AUHSD emails will have access.
okay.
So
All
if you
right.
can write in the chat, that would be very helpful for us.
Yes, thank you. Number one, please, I will know the survey must be open to everybody, English and Spanish. And then doing that, yes. And I want you to know, this presentation has our classrooms in there. The 3 classrooms that I showed you was Miss Pinedo, Mr. Taylor, and who was the other person I showed you? Miss Manville's class. And there was one video from Mr. Kim from another school site. But we want to make sure that we also get some grades, right? So if you're like, I want to see more, I want to see high school classrooms, or I want to see English classrooms, please let us know. And also we want to make sure that this presentation is uniform so that all parents have the same information. So this is why I'm piloting this presentation, but we will have to make tweaks on it, obviously. All right, so how are we doing with the feedback? Yes.
And sorry, it's really long, so I didn't want to make it longer. I can say it short.
Yes.
I think it'd be nice to send a student survey. It may have been done and we maybe missed it, but I feel like I said, checking in on that social emotional piece on how they're doing right now is really important. I know that academics, we can rely on the grades and teacher feedback, but gauging how they're doing social emotionally, I think is huge. And like I mentioned earlier, so many of them have lost the connections with friends, with their extracurriculars, with sports and band. And I feel like it would be nice to at least understand what other areas they can be supported in and kind of strategize on that a little more.
Awesome. Great feedback. Thank you so much. Anybody else want to unmute themselves and just share as well? Sometimes you're right. Like there's too much typing.
Ms. Vasquez, before we get to that, I just wanted to note to parents, there's a document that's being loaded into the chat. It's a PDF. Parents, if you're having any trouble with your student's Chromebook, again, we want the content to be challenging, not the technology. So we want the challenge to be in the learning, but not in accessing. So if you have any issues with the Chromebooks, Ms. Ruthenbeck, our assistant principal here at Savanna, has put together an amazing document with a video and links if you have any issues to troubleshoot and get support on your Chromebook just functioning. So thank you, Ms. Ruthenbeck, for that. But it's a great resource, a great tool. Definitely use it, parents, if you have issues with your Chromebook.
And along those lines, also our district and our sites have tech help. So if you are having other account problems, right, I'm sure the document is being shared has this information on there. There is tech support. We definitely want to make sure that it is easy to navigate. And then along those lines as well, not those lines, but resources. And Adriana, if you want to go over this slide, but family resources.
Yeah, so just as a reminder, we are updating our family resource links pretty often. You could dial 211 for resources, but also remember to reach out to our school. We've been very lucky that we've been able to partner with a lot of different organizations to support our families. So reach out to the school, or of course dial 211 for other resources in English and in Spanish. Very easy. You text and your zip code, and all kinds of resources are available to you on your phone.
All right, and with that, I want to thank you for joining us this morning for our Brookanna Coffee with the Principals. I hope you found this valuable. And again, if you have feedback or want to see more of something, I'd be happy to partner up with our teams to get you some more information. I know this is very new to all of us, so we wanted to really take the time to walk you through some of the instructional components, right, that you should be looking out and expecting of the virtual classrooms. I did the slide, but I didn't know what the next Coffee with the Principals was. I don't think we scheduled it yet, unless I'm incorrect. Maria, or I'm sorry, Mr. Hiyo or Ms. Soto, do we have that?
So the next one is on Friday, January 29th.
Okay, so 129. So I will make sure I put that on there right now because we want to make sure that it is on there next month. 129, 2021. You everybody super excited. New
Bye,
year.
2020.
Bye 2020. All right. Want to give a shout out to our team, Ms. Renteria. Thank you so much for the translation, and Ms. Trujillo and Ms. Soto as well. And also to the shout out to the Savanna and Brookhurst team. And thank you, Mr. Rubio. Did a great job filling in today. We're going to stay on for any additional questions, but we're going to stop the recording to make sure that that is set for